Today I'm going to be showing you guys what to do and what not to do when you color your hair at home. I'm going to be going over the most common mistakes that I see people make when they're coloring their hair, whether that's permanent hair color, using box dye, fashion colors, or bleaching your hair at home. So I have a couple of examples that I've already done, and I'm going to show you basics on what to do and what not to do. So we'll get started. Okay, so as far as the basics go, a lot of people will grab a box dye like this. I got this one and I actually colored her hair with it, and I'll show it to you. So I got this for $8 at Publix, and this is a level 5 and medium natural brown. So I grabbed this box, and I'm gonna show you why it matters what your starting canvas is. So when I say starting canvas, I mean like her hair is already pretty much a level 5, which you can tell by looking at the level system right here. So you need to identify first where your hair lives in order to pick the correct color for you. Now, my hair is more like an 8 and a 9, where my blonde hair is and my natural hair is. So when I put this color on my hair, it's gonna look completely different than when we put it on her hair. So going based off of the level system, what I wanted to show you guys is I took a quick picture when I was processing, so I'll have that pop up here. And I took a section, which you can see right here, and I only colored the middle section of this hair. And again, this is mannequin hair, so I mean, it's very processed hair. It is natural hair, so it's like human hair, but it is a little bit over processed, so it will take color a little bit differently than natural hair would. What I wanted to point out though is, you see how dark this is right here? So when you are putting a level 5 over a level 5, it can only get darker. So if you're like, oh, I see the colors on the box, which are here, and you're looking at basically what the results would be, you need to identify your own starting level. Because if you're already darker, it's only gonna keep getting darker if you have pre-colored hair. If you had virgin hair, it would look a little bit different, and then the color can actually start to lift your hair. But because this hair is already colored, it will not change. It will always just go darker. So color does not lift color. The only way to get color out of the hair like this, in order to change the color after it's already been colored, so that's what we call pre-colored hair versus virgin hair, is to bleach it. So our next example is basically gonna be what it looks like when you're trying to bleach your hair on pre-colored hair and when you have multiple layers of color. So what I did is I took one of these sections right here where I had just colored it. I put 20 volume in bleach on this section. So we'll do a close-up, but if you can see how this hair right here is like a level or two darker than this hair up here. So I basically colored this whole section here because I want you guys to see when you do multiple layers of hair color on top of hair color, it is much harder to get that to bleach out. So when you're coloring your hair at home, you don't want to overlap. You want to just do your root area if it's the same hair color. You don't want to color the whole entire head every time. Okay, so again, coming back to starting levels. So this mannequin is more of like between a level 9 and a level 10. And I used the exact same hair color on this mannequin at the exact same time. Same processing time and everything. It was that box dye. So you can see that, let's see, this is more like a level 7, like 7, maybe a 6.5. So it is a lot lighter than the other doll head that I did. So it really matters what your starting canvas is. If you're much lighter, let's say maybe you even have some gray hair, it's gonna look much lighter than if you're already starting out darker. Okay, I have my other doll head up here now. One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen people make is bleaching. So I'm gonna give you a couple of big examples that I see and how to kind of fix those things. And I'm gonna show you what I did on my doll head as these examples and how it turned out. So I'm gonna have a picture pop up. In this section here, what I did is basically I just used one big section and I just slapped that bleach on there and I let it just be open air and I didn't put any foil on it. What I really want you guys to see with this is the level of lift that we got. So when your hair is exposed to the air, especially cold air, it's going to process much slower. The bleach is going to dry out. It needs to stay wet to keep working, and it's just not going to be as good of an end result than if you actually put it in foils. So if we're looking at the dominant pigment that's right here, we even need to tone this hair basically with something with blue and purple, because that's what's across from the color wheel, with orange and gold. So this is more orangey and gold than when I actually lifted it in a foil. So I'm going to show you that example next. So the proper way, if you guys are doing it this way, it's going to be like this. So I mixed up just a little bit of bleach right here. It's going to be like a frosting-like consistency. You want to make sure that it's not too watery. If it is too watery, then the ratios are off and it just doesn't have as much power to it. So I'm going to take this section here, and even if you are just allowing it to process with like open air, you want to take very thin sections. So the section should be able to be see-through just like this, because you want to make sure that you get it in there really well, and you want to make sure it's coated really well. So that's another thing that people do, is they literally just take their hands. So I'll take some of my hands and they just kind of go like this. And if you can see, like, look how dry that looks. And then they'll leave it like that. They'll expose it to open air and then wonder why your hair isn't lifting or why it's still orange. Look at the amount of product that's on that hair. So what it should look like is this. You want to layer that product on there really well, and you want to wear gloves. Please wear gloves. You want to go from basically 1 inch from the root, or maybe 2 inches. It depends on where you're working at. So I'm going to feather it up to the root right there. And you want to make sure that you penetrate all the hair in there. Sometimes what I'll also do is go side to side like this and really work it in there. We do not ever want to put it on the root first. This will process much faster because of the heat from your scalp, and it will get blonder than the rest of this while this still needs time to process. So you always want to do the scalp last. That is how your sections should look if you are just doing a whole entire head of bleach on your hair. Next, I want to show you guys the proper way to be doing this. So what we did here, and I'll put a picture up when it was processing, I basically took a very thin slice of hair right here, separate that, and I put this in a foil. One thing I want you to see is you can read a page through this hair. It needs to be as thin as this in order to get this kind of lift. And the lift that we got here is the basic level 9. It looks really good. You only need a little bit of a toner to get kind of like a more ashy color. So this is the perfect lift. Now, this mannequin head obviously has pre-colored hair. So you're never going to get a perfectly white canvas, and you really don't want to bleach your hair to a white canvas. You always want to get that like pale yellow, like the inside of a banana, because you're going to keep the hair healthy. And you don't need to be white. You can always tone it or use purple shampoo. It might take a while to do this, and what we call this is a platinum card. I'll show you an example that'll pop up right now. So a platinum card is basically this all up the entire head, because it's gonna get you where you wanna be in one session instead of multiple sessions doing it this way. Because this process is much slower and it's not going to get you as much lift. Now, is that kind of hard to do on yourself? Yes, it is not impossible, but basically what you would do, and I'll show you on one side of this mannequin head, you will take a foil, you will take your section of hair, again, it needs to be thin so that you can read through it. I take the foil, I'm gonna put it over my rat tail comb, flip that over because we want tension. I'm gonna hold the hair down, and in case you're wondering, I do my own hair at home. I'll have a video pop up here. It is possible to do your own blonde hair or highlights at home, so I'll have that pop up if you want a tutorial on that. You're gonna take your bleach, and you're gonna kind of stay away from the root. You wanna go probably about right there. And then you're just going to fill up that whole foil. And again, you need the consistency of the bleach to be like icing, because if you don't, the foil is going to slip out. And I did 20 volume with bleach on her to get that result. You don't really ever need to go above 20 volume in a foil, especially because it conducts heat. And you do want to make sure that you saturate it good. So that looks pretty good to me. I'll make sure that there's no hair down here. If there is, you can just protect it by folding this first. And then we're going to fold it up. I'm going to use my comb, flip these over, and we're going to lock it in. Now, if you want all one color blonde, that's what you would do your whole entire head with. If you are just doing highlights, obviously you're going to do it to the root and not lower than the root. So if, however, you don't know how long to leave this for, you want to make sure that you're checking and you're pulling on those ends every like 10 to 15 minutes if you're really nervous about it. Like if you have compromised hair, just making sure that the integrity of the hair is still good. And you, again, never want to go over 20 volume. And in the next example, I'm going to show you why. Okay, so I don't think this happens too often, but I have seen it. On this side of the hair, you can see like this hair is basically white. And basically the ends are missing. So I'll have a picture pop up here so you guys can see what I did. I mixed this with 40 volume developer and bleach, and I added heat to it. So 20 volume is gonna be your ideal volume that you wanna pick. We call it our workhorse because it continues to work. 40 volume, which is what I used on her, will get you a lot of power, but it will fizzle out fast. So I left this on for about an hour, the same exact time frame that I left the other one on. Now, I did add heat to this, so in that picture that I'm gonna have pop up, you can see that the heat actually expanded the foil, and you can see how this right here is a little bit warmer because the foil slipped. It changed the consistency of the bleach. So just to reiterate, look at the ends here compared to the other side of when we just did the 20 volume. These ends, I don't have them, but they literally just, when I rinsed it, they fell right off. All right, so the last point I wanted to make to you guys is I did use a box dye on purpose, and I wanted to show you guys that box dye, unfortunately, is much harder to get out of the hair and much more unpredictable than regular color. So this is a color from Sally's. It is a demi-permanent color, but as a visual, I just wanted to show you guys. So I would always reach for something from Sally's that's more of a color that you know exactly what's in it rather than a box dye. And the reason I say that is because when this comes with the step 2, it has a little bottle for the step 2. It's developer, that's what's in the step 2. And you have no idea what volume developer is in that bottle. And you also have no idea what kind of color is in here. It says medium natural brown, but you don't know if it's got gold in it. You don't know if it has orange, if it's blue based. You have no idea. So going to your local Sally's and picking out a color is gonna be much better for you because you'll have more control. And if you ever wanna change your color, it's gonna be much easier to bleach that out. I know that today's video was a little bit different, but I hope that these tips helped you guys in the next time that you do your hair, and maybe the next time you go to pick out your colors so that you know exactly what you need to do. If you guys are interested, I'm gonna be making a mini course, which is gonna go more in detail, in depth with color formulas and more structure breakdown in detail about these types of things. If you're interested in that, put a comment down below and let me know, because I'd love to hear what you have to say or any questions that you might have or suggestions for that course. In the next video, I'm actually going to be going over toning. So we're going to go over those same examples, and I'm going to teach you how to properly tone your hair so that you know what to do every single time to get the color that you want. So thank you so much for watching, and until then, I will see you in the next one.